3 minutes ago, I saw complete Epstein files. Every Western leader who lectures Africa about human rights, every banker who controls our economies, every corporate chief who extracts our resources, all documented flying to trafficking islands repeatedly over decades. 43 child victims, 14 employee witnesses. Africa has everything now. The global elite panic because we control their secrets, control their destruction. Let me tell you how we obtained these files. I accessed complete Epstein files through Intelligence Operation 18 Months in Development, operation coordinated across 6 African intelligence services, services from Mali, Niger, Burkina Faso, Chad, Guinea, Senegal. Coordinated beginning July 2024 when decision was made to obtain evidence Western government sealed to protect elites. The decision followed a pattern of Western powers bombing African civilians while claiming moral authority. The decision followed the hypocrisy of lecturing Africa about governance while hiding crimes of their own leaders. Decision was made to expose hypocrisy through obtaining and releasing evidence proving Western elite participated in systematic child trafficking over decades. The operation required infiltrating networks, required cultivating sources within agencies possessing evidence, required technical capabilities to access secured systems, required 18 months of patient, careful, dangerous work. Analysis revealed everything. Revealed names, revealed crimes, revealed panic begins now as the global elite realize Africa possesses their secrets. Every Western leader who lectures Africa about human rights appears in these files. Leaders who bomb our civilians claiming counterterrorism, leaders who impose sanctions claiming governance concerns, leaders who condition aid claiming corruption worries, leaders who lecture endlessly about rule of law and transparency and accountability, all documented in Epstein files, documented flying to Little St. James Island repeatedly, documented socializing with Epstein at properties where trafficking occurred, documented in witness statements describing their presence during periods when minors were present, documented in survivor testimonies describing abuse by men matching their descriptions, documented in photographs showing them at parties where young females were visible, documented in communications discussing arrangements for island visits, documented completely, comprehensively, undeniably. Political leader identified as Figure A lectured Africa about human rights repeatedly between 2000 and 2008, lectured about need for transparency, lectured about protecting vulnerable populations, lectured about accountability for those who abuse power. During same period, Figure A flew to Epstein Island 9 times according to flight manifests. Flew February 2001, June 2001, November 2002, March 2003, August 2003, January 2004, September 2004, April 2005, December 2005, 9 visits over 5 years. Employee witnesses describe seeing Figure A at island during multiple visits, describe seeing Figure A with young females. Survivor testimony describes being abused by man matching Figure A description during August 2003 island visit. Describes assault in guest bedroom. Describes being 17 at time. Testimony corroborated by manifest showing Figure A present August 2003. Corroborated by financial records showing payment to survivor days after visit. Figure A who lectures Africa about human rights participated in trafficking network abusing minors. Hypocrisy is absolute. Authority to lecture is zero. Political leader identified as Figure B lectured Africa about governance and corruption between 2005 and 2012, lectured about need for institutional integrity, lectured about protecting citizens from exploitation, lectured about investigating and prosecuting crimes by powerful people. During same period, Figure B flew to Epstein Island 12 times according to manifests, flew March 2005, July 2005, December 2005, May 2006, October 2006, February 2007, August 2007, January 2008, June 2008, November 2008, April 2009, September 2009, 12 visits over 4 years. Frequency proves sustained participation. Employee witnesses describe seeing Figure B at island parties where young females were present. Survivor testimony describes being abused by man matching Figure B description during June 2008 visit, describes being 16 at time, describes assault occurring after pool party. Testimony corroborated by manifest and employee statement and photograph from party showing Figure B present. Figure B who lectures Africa about governance participated in terrifying, who lectures about prosecuting powerful criminals is powerful criminal. Hypocrisy destroys credibility completely. Political leader identified as Figure C lectured Africa about rule of law and accountability between 2010 and 2018, lectured about no one being above law, lectured about importance of prosecuting crimes regardless of perpetrator power, lectured about protecting children from exploitation. During same period, Figure C flew to Epstein Island 7 times according to manifests, flew January 2010, September 2010, May 2011, December 2011, July 2012, March 2013, October 2013. 7 visits over 3 years. Employee witnesses describe seeing figure C at island dinners where young females served. Survivor testimony describes being abused by man matching figure C description during July 2012 visit. Describes being 16 at time. Describes being told man was important political figure and she should feel privileged. Describes assault being violent and traumatic. Testimony corroborated by manifest and employee statement. Figure C who lectures about rule of law violated law. Who lectures about protecting children abused children. Hypocrisy is crime compounding crime. Every banker who controls our economies appears in these files. Bankers who impose structural adjustment demanding austerity. Bankers who condition loans on policy changes. Bankers who control currency flows and interest rates and credit ratings. Bankers who determine which African nations receive investment and which face isolation. Bankers who lecture about fiscal responsibility and institutional capacity and governance standards, all documented in Epstein files participating in trafficking network while lecturing Africa about standards we must meet. Banking executive identified as figure D controlled lending to multiple African nations between 2000 and 2015, controlled billions in loans conditioning them on policy reforms, lectured African governments about transparency and accountability. During same period, figure D flew to Epstein Island 17 times according to manifests, flew more frequently than any other banking figure. Frequency proves figure D was core network participant. Employee witnesses describe seeing figure D at island multiple times. Describe figure D requesting specific girls by description. Survivor testimony describes being requested by description and sent to figure D during March 2013 visit. Describes being 17. Describes figure D treating her as commodity purchased for use. Testimony corroborated by manifest and employee statement and financial record showing payment. Figure D, who lectures Africa about accountability, participated in trafficking, avoiding accountability through sealing of evidence. Who conditions our loans on governance standards, violated basic standards of human decency. Hypocrisy is weapon used against us while wielder is criminal. Banking executive identified as figure E managed investment funds controlling billions in African assets between 2005 and 2018, managed funds investing in African resources and infrastructure, lectured about need for transparency in African business practices. During same period, figure E flew to Epstein Island 11 times according to manifests. Employee witnesses describe seeing figure E at island parties. Survivor testimony describes being abused by man matching figure E description during September 2009 visit. Describes being 16. Describes assault in massage room. Testimony corroborated by manifest and employee statement. Figure E who demands transparency from Africa operates in secrecy. Who invests in Africa while exploiting children. Hypocrisy delegitimizes everything this figure says about African business practices. Banking executive identified as figure F controlled credit ratings for African sovereign debt between 2008 and 2016, controlled ratings determining our borrowing costs, downgraded African nations claiming governance concerns and institutional weaknesses. During same period, figure F flew to Epstein Island 8 times according to manifests. Employee witnesses describe seeing figure F at island dinners. Survivor testimony describes being abused by man matching figure F description during November 2010 visit. Describes being 15. Describes man discussing importance of discretion. Testimony corroborated by manifest and employee statement. Figure F who downgrades Africa claiming governance concerns participated in trafficking network. Who lectures about institutional capacity lacked moral capacity. Hypocrisy proves ratings are political weapons, not objective assessments. Every corporate chief who extracts our resources appears in these files. Chiefs who control mining companies extracting our minerals. Chiefs who control oil companies extracting our petroleum. Chiefs who control agricultural companies controlling our land. Chiefs who lecture about need for African development while structuring operations to extract maximum wealth. All documented in Epstein files participating in trafficking while extracting our resources and lecturing about development. Corporate executive identified as figure G controlled mining operations across 5 African nations between 2002 and 2016. Controlled operations extracting gold and diamonds and copper, lectured about bringing development and employment to Africa. During same period, figure G flew to Epstein Island 14 times according to manifests. Employee witnesses describe seeing figure G at island frequently. Describe figure G being comfortable and familiar, suggesting regular participation. Survivor testimony describes being abused by man matching figure G description during April 2008 visit. Describes being 16. Describes man being rough and dismissive. Testimony corroborated by manifest and employee statement and photograph showing figure G at island party April 2008. Figure G, who lectures about development, participated in trafficking, who extracts our minerals while abusing children. Hypocrisy proves corporate social responsibility claims are marketing, not reality. Corporate executive identified as Figure H controlled oil operations in 3 African nations between 2005 and 2018, controlled operations extracting billions in petroleum, lectured about environmental standards and community development. During same period, Figure H flew to Epstein Island 10 times according to manifests. Employee witnesses describe seeing Figure H at Island. Survivor testimony describes being abused by man matching Figure H description during June 2011 visit. Describes being 17. Describes assault occurring on yacht. Testimony corroborated by manifest and employee statement. Figure H, who lectures about standards, participated in trafficking, violating basic human standards. Who claims concern for communities' exploited children. Hypocrisy proves environmental and social rhetoric masks pure extraction agenda. Corporate executive identified as Figure 1 controlled pharmaceutical operations selling drugs across Africa between 2003 and 2015, controlled pricing and distribution, lectured about need for African governments to improve healthcare systems. During same period, Figure 1 flew to Epstein Island 9 times according to manifests. Employee witnesses describe seeing Figure 1 at island dinners. Survivor testimony describes being abused by man matching Figure 1 description during October 2009 visit, describes being 16, describes man discussing medical topics as though intellectualizing made assault acceptable, testimony corroborated by manifest and employee statement. Figure I, who lectures Africa about healthcare, participated in trafficking, harming children, who profits from African illness while causing trauma. Hypocrisy proves profit drives decisions, not concern for health. All documented flying to Trafficking Island repeatedly over decades, proving sustained participation, not isolated incidents. 47 high-frequency visitors identified through manifest analysis. 47 individuals who flew to Little St. James 10 or more times between 1997 and 2019. Frequency proves knowledge of island purpose, proves acceptance of trafficking operations, proves participation in network. 10 visits over 20 years cannot be coincidence, cannot be innocent social presence. Frequency is pattern, pattern is evidence, evidence is proof of guilt. Manifest analysis reveals patterns, reveals certain months were more active than others, reveals February and July and November saw highest visitor traffic, reveals coordination between visitors suggesting some traveled together or visited during same periods, reveals some visitors came quarterly suggesting routine, reveals operations were systematic, not opportunistic. Systematic operations prove organization, prove conspiracy, prove all participants joined enterprise, making all liable for all crimes committed in furtherance regardless of individual direct participation. 43 child victims identified through survivor outreach and testimony collection. 43 young women who were trafficked to island as minors between ages 14 and 17. 43 who suffered sexual abuse and exploitation. 43 whose testimonies describe abuse by men matching descriptions of documented high-frequency visitors. 43 who deserve justice, who deserve seeing abusers identified publicly and prosecuted and convicted and punished. 43 whose voices were silenced for years through threats and payments and shame. 43 whose voices are heard now through Africa's possession of files proving their accounts are truthful. Survivor testimonies are detailed and specific, describe locations within island compound, describe layouts of rooms where assaults occurred, describe furnishings and decorations. Specificity proves testimonies are based on actual presence, not fabrication. Describe perpetrators physically. Describe ages and heights and builds and distinguishing features. Describe clothing and accessories. Describe mannerisms and speech patterns. Descriptions enable matching to documented visitors through comparison with photographs and public appearances. Matches are strong. Matches are multiple. Matches prove testimonies identify real perpetrators appearing in manifests. Survivor testimonies describe similar experiences separated by years, proving methods remained consistent. Describe being recruited through modeling agencies or schools or friends. Describe being told they would meet important men. Describe being taken to island by plane. Describe being housed in compound with other girls. Describe being supervised by Epstein associate. Describe being sent to entertain visitors. Describe assaults occurring in bedrooms or massage rooms or on yacht. Describe being paid afterwards. Describe being threatened to remain silent. Consistency across testimony separated by years proves operations were systematic. Proves methods were refined and repeated. Proves organization was sophisticated and sustained. 14 employee witnesses identified through investigation and outreach. 14 individuals who worked at Island or other Epstein properties between 2000 and 2015, worked as household staff or maintenance workers or boat crew or pilots. Employment provided observation opportunities, provided understanding of operations, provided knowledge of visitor identities and activities. 14 who agreed to provide statements describing what they observed, 14 whose statements corroborate survivor testimonies and manifest data, 14 whose observations prove trafficking occurred as survivors describe involving visitors documented in manifests. Employee statements describe systematic operations, describe young females arriving regularly by plane from Florida, describe females being housed in compound, describe females being directed to entertain visitors, describe visitors arriving and departing according to schedules, describe privacy being important with staff instructed not to enter certain areas during visitor presence, describe understanding from context and conversations that females were there for visitors' sexual use, describe feeling uncomfortable but fearing job loss or retaliation if speaking. Statements are credible because employees are disinterested witnesses, have no stake in outcomes, have no motive to fabricate, simply report what they observed during employment. Employee statements identify specific visitors by description matching documented passengers. Employee A describes seeing figure D multiple times between 2011 and 2014, describes figure D requesting specific girl by description. Employee B describes seeing figure G at island parties multiple times between 2006 and 2010, describes young females being present at parties. Employee C describes seeing figure B at dinners where young females served. Employee D describes flying figure E to island as pilot and observing figure E being familiar with island layout suggesting prior visits. Identifications match manifests, match photographs, match survivor descriptions. Corroboration proves identifications are accurate. Thousands of documents obtained through operation include flight manifests and financial records and communications and photographs and witness statements and survivor testimonies and investigative reports. Documents fill digital storage, fill servers holding terabytes of data. Everything obtained, everything analyzed, everything organized, everything ready for release. Documents prove systematic trafficking by global elite over 2 decades. Prove participation by those who lecture Africa. Prove crimes by those who claim moral authority. Prove hypocrisy of those who bomb and sanction and condition while hiding own crimes. Africa has everything now, meaning possession shifted from Western intelligence agencies sealing evidence to African intelligence services preparing to release evidence. Possession is power, power to expose, power to destroy reputations, power to trigger prosecutions, power to eliminate moral authority of those who lecture us. Possession shifted through Operation Succeeding, through sources providing access, through technical capabilities enabling extraction, through coordination across 6 nations enabling analysis and verification. Possession is permanent, cannot be retrieved, cannot be suppressed, cannot be sealed again. Possession means control, control means power, power means Africa determines what happens next. Global elite panic because we control their secrets through possessing files they desperately want to keep sealed. Panic is visible through emergency communications intercepted, through travel patterns showing figures converging for crisis meetings, through legal teams being mobilized to threaten and intimidate and seek injunctions, through media organizations being pressured to avoid coverage, through diplomatic channels being activated to pressure African governments. Panic proves guilt, proves consciousness of criminality, proves understanding that exposure means destruction. Panic proves files contain truth, not fabrications, because innocents do not panic when lies are told about them. Elite panic began January 11, 2026, when word leaked through intelligence networks that Africa obtained Epstein files. Panic intensified January 12th when analysis was completed and names were identified. Panic is total January 13th as release is announced for January 15, 2026 at 3:00 p.m. GMT. 48 hours remain before release. 48 hours for elite to experience fear. Fear of exposure, fear of prosecution, fear of reputation destruction, fear of losing everything, fear they inflicted on survivors for years through threats and intimidation. Fear returns to them now. Justice begins with fear. Justice continues with release. Justice completes with accountability. We control their destruction through possessing evidence proving their crimes and planning release that destroys their authority and enables their prosecution. Destruction is choice we make. Choice to release everything publicly. Choice to provide files to international prosecutors. Choice to support survivor civil suits. Choice to ensure every name is known and every crime is documented and every hypocrite is exposed. Destruction is moral imperative. Imperative because they bomb our children while hiding own crimes. Imperative because they lecture while participating in trafficking. Imperative because they impose standards while violating basic decency. Destruction serves justice, serves survivors, serves truth, serves Africa's interest in ending Western moral authority used to justify intervention and control. Release begins soon, meaning January 15, 2026 at precisely 3:00 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time, coordinated across all time zones, ensuring simultaneous global disclosure. Timing is deliberate. chosen to maximize impact through coordinating release when Africa, Europe, Americas are all within working hours, enabling immediate media coverage and public attention. 3 p.m. GMT is 3 p.m. in London, 10 a.m. in New York, 4 p.m. in Paris, 5 p.m. in Cairo, 6 p.m. in Nairobi, 7 p.m. in Addis Ababa. Timing ensures maximum audience, ensures journalists are working and can report immediately, ensures officials are available to respond, ensures social media users are active to spread virally. Timing maximizes exposure, maximizes impact, maximizes pressure. Files are released simultaneously across multiple platforms, eliminating single point of failure. Simultaneous means all platforms receive files at exact same moment, eliminates possibility of suppression through taking down single source before others activate. Simultaneous release creates redundancy, creates resilience, creates certainty. Release cannot be stopped through technical means or legal threats or government pressure on any single platform. Multiple platforms include African media organizations and international news agencies and social media services and academic repositories and legal databases and blockchain storage. Diversity ensures permanence. Released to African media, ensuring continental coverage across all 54 nations. African media includes state broadcasters in every nation, includes continental networks like Africa News and Africa News broadcasting across regions, includes major national newspapers in capitals like the East African and Daily Nation and the Guardian Nigeria and Mail and Guardian South Africa, includes radio networks reaching rural populations without internet access, includes online platforms like Sahara Reporters and African Arguments reaching diaspora and international audiences. Released to African media ensures every African learns truth, learns who lectured them while committing crimes, learns hypocrisy of those imposing standards. African media coverage creates continental awareness, creates unified understanding, creates foundation for collective response demanding respect and sovereignty. Released to international media ensuring global awareness beyond Africa. International media includes major agencies like Reuters and Associated Press and Agence France Presse, distributing to thousands of outlets worldwide. Includes broadcast networks like BBC and CNN and Al Jazeera reaching hundreds of millions. Includes major newspapers like New York Times and Guardian and Le Monde and Deutsche Welle shaping elite opinion. Includes investigative journalism organizations like ProPublica and ICIJ conducting deep analysis. Released to international media ensures global elite cannot hide crimes from their own populations. Ensures citizens in US and Europe and Asia learn their leaders participated in trafficking. Ensures public pressure builds in perpetrator home countries demanding accountability. International coverage is essential because prosecutions require political will and political will requires public awareness and public outrage. Released to International Criminal Court ensuring prosecutorial action through providing complete evidence to ICC Office of the Prosecutor. ICC has jurisdiction over trafficking crimes committed by nationals of any state or committed in territory of state party. Release includes referral letters from African nations requesting ICC investigate and prosecute documented perpetrators. Referral letters carry legal weight, obligate ICC prosecutor to consider evidence and decide whether to open investigation. Evidence sufficiency is overwhelming. Jurisdiction exists for many perpetrators. Political will is questioned. Release creates pressure through public exposure, making politically difficult for ICC to refuse action. Release to ICC ensures legal accountability mechanism activates, ensures path to prosecution exists, ensures survivors have avenue for justice through international court if domestic prosecutions fail. Release to social media ensuring viral spread creating unstoppable momentum. Social media includes Twitter and Facebook and Instagram and TikTok and YouTube and Telegram and WhatsApp, includes platforms with billions of users globally. Release includes creating official accounts posting evidence continuously, includes providing downloadable files enabling users to share locally, includes hashtags creating unified discourse like Release the Files and Epstein Africa and Elite Exposed. Social media release ensures younger audiences engage, ensures viral spread through shares and retweets and forwards, ensures suppression is impossible because content spreads faster than platforms can remove, ensures global conversation emerges immediately with millions participating. Social media transforms release from official disclosure to people's movement, movement demanding accountability, movement sharing evidence, movement creating pressure platforms and governments cannot contain. Release to universities ensuring scholarly analysis providing authoritative interpretation and long-term study. Universities include law schools analyzing criminal liability and prosecution strategies, include journalism schools training investigative reporters, include sociology departments studying elite networks and power structures, include history departments preserving evidence for future scholarship, include libraries creating permanent archives. Release to universities ensures academic legitimacy, ensures scholarly papers will analyze evidence and confirm findings, ensures future generations will study how trafficking network operated and how accountability was achieved or evaded. Scholarly analysis provides authoritative foundation, provides credibility beyond activist claims or media reports, provides permanent institutional memory through university archives preserving evidence indefinitely. Release to everywhere ensuring universal access, eliminating any barrier to obtaining evidence. Everywhere means African media and international media and social platforms and academic institutions and legal organizations and human rights groups and civil society networks and individual activists and ordinary citizens. Everywhere means online and offline, digital and physical, English and French and Arabic and Portuguese and Swahili and dozens of other languages through translation. Everywhere means wealthy and poor, urban and rural, educated and illiterate through audio and video formats. Universal access is justice principle. Principle that truth belongs to everyone, not just elites or authorities. Universal access ensures suppression is impossible. Ensures accountability is inevitable because millions possess evidence and millions demand justice. Release is comprehensive, meaning nothing excluded and everything included. Comprehensive means all manifests, not selected manifests, all witnesses, not chosen witnesses, all survivors, not filtered survivors, all photographs, not curated photographs, all financial records, not redacted records, all communications, not sanitized communications, everything included regardless of how damaging to powerful individuals or how embarrassing to governments or how destabilizing to institutions. Comprehensive release serves truth, serves transparency, serves justice requiring full disclosure, not selective leaks serving political agendas. Comprehensive is commitment, commitment to maximum accountability through maximum disclosure. Release is unstoppable, meaning no force can prevent or reverse disclosure once initiated. Unstoppable because simultaneous multi-platform release creates redundancy, defeating suppression efforts. Take down one platform and dozens remain. Block one country's access and VPNs enable access through other countries. Threaten one organization and hundreds of independent actors continue sharing. Unstoppable because distributed architecture eliminates single point of control. No authority can stop release because no authority controls all platforms simultaneously. Unstoppable because public demand exceeds elite capacity to suppress. Millions want evidence. Millions will obtain and share evidence. Collective action creates unstoppable momentum, creates certainty. Release succeeds regardless of elite resistance. Release is permanent, meaning evidence remains accessible indefinitely, not temporarily disclosed, then concealed again. Permanent because digital distribution creates infinite copies impossible to eliminate. Permanent because blockchain storage creates tamper-proof records surviving deletion attempts. Permanent because physical archives in multiple jurisdictions survive digital suppression. Permanent because once public, always public, cannot unsee, cannot unknow, cannot erase from collective memory. Permanence ensures accountability cannot be evaded through waiting for attention to fade, ensures evidence remains available for future prosecutions whenever political will exists, ensures truth survives forever, preventing historical revision, denying crimes occurred. Release changes everything, meaning fundamental transformation of power dynamics between Africa and global elite. Changes everything because exposure destroys moral authority elite use to justify intervention. Cannot lecture Africa about human rights while exposed as trafficking participants. Cannot impose governance standards while exposed as criminals violating basic standards. Cannot bomb and sanction and condition while exposed as hypocrites. Moral authority dies with exposure, dies permanently, dies completely. Change is fundamental because authority was foundation of elite power over Africa, power to intervene claiming humanitarian purposes, power to impose structural adjustment claiming development concerns, power to control policy claiming governance expertise. Authority dies, power erodes, everything changes. Release includes complete flight manifests listing all passengers who flew to Little St. James between 1997 and 2019, documenting 22 years of trafficking operations. Complete means every flight, not selected flights, every passenger, not chosen passengers. Manifest are Federal Aviation Administration records required by law for all private aircraft. Records include passenger full legal names, not aliases, include departure airports and arrival airports, include flight dates and times, include pilot names, include aircraft tail numbers. Manifests are official government documents created contemporaneously, not reconstructed later. Documents carry legal presumption of accuracy. Documents are verified through cross-referencing with customs records and airport logs and radar data. Manifests are unimpeachable evidence, our foundation proving who went where, when, listing names and dates and frequencies providing complete picture of participation patterns over 22-year period. Names identify who participated, dates identify when participation occurred, frequencies identify how often individuals visited proving casual visitor versus core participant distinction. Listing enables public to search for names they recognize, search for political leaders, search for business executives, search for celebrities, search for academics, search for anyone. Listing transforms abstract claims about elite trafficking into concrete identification of specific individuals by name enabling personal accountability. Names matter. Names enable prosecution. Names enable social accountability. Names enable everything. Listing 47 high-frequency visitors with 10-plus visits identifying core network participants. High frequency is objective threshold. 10 visits over 22 years is pattern, not coincidence. Is relationship not isolated encounter? Is participation not innocent presence? 47 individuals meeting threshold are named. Names are public. Names enable identification of leaders and businessmen and celebrities who were core participants in trafficking network. Core participants are most culpable, are most liable, are priorities for prosecution. Listing identifies priorities, identifies who must face accountability first. Listing 200 total visitors with 1+ visits documenting full network scope beyond core participants. 200 individuals flew to island at least once. Some flew once, possibly unaware of island purpose. Many flew multiple times, proving awareness and acceptance. All 200 names are listed. All are public. All enable identification and investigation. Some one-time visitors may be innocent. Investigation determines who. Listing all names enables thorough investigation rather than predetermined conclusions. Transparency serves justice. Justice requires investigating all leads, not prejudging outcomes. Manifests prove presence, meaning documented individuals were physically at trafficking location during periods when trafficking occurred. Presence is foundational element for any prosecution. Cannot participate without being present. Cannot claim innocence if presence is proven. Manifests are objective proof. Are government records not testimony subject to impeachment? Records proving presence eliminate primary defense that accused was not at location where crimes occurred. Presence proven. Defense eliminated. Foundation for prosecution established. Manifests prove patterns, meaning multiple visits over time, proving sustained involvement, not isolated presence. Pattern is flight frequency. Frequency proves relationship, proves ongoing access, proves comfort with location and activities. Pattern eliminates coincidence defense. 1 visit might be explained innocently. 5 visits over 3 years cannot be explained as coincidence. 10 visits over 5 years prove knowing participation. 15 visits over decade prove core involvement. Pattern is evidence, strong evidence. Objective evidence based on official records impossible to dispute. Manifests prove network scope, meaning trafficking involved hundreds of individuals, not isolated offender. Scope is 200 documented visitors. Scope proves systematic operations, proves organization, proves conspiracy. Conspiracy means agreement between 2 or more people to commit crime. 200 visitors proves massive conspiracy. Conspiracy liability attaches to all participants. Any participant joining conspiracy becomes liable for all acts committed in furtherance. Network scope proven through manifests enables prosecuting all participants under conspiracy statutes, enables holding all accountable, not just Epstein. Release enables public to see who participated through publishing all names in searchable format. Public access transforms abstract knowledge. Elite participated into concrete identification of specific individuals by name. Access enables citizens searching for their own leaders, searching for businessmen controlling their economies, searching for celebrities they admired. Searching enables personal connection, enables outrage, enables demand for accountability. Public access is democracy. Democracy requires informed citizens. Informed citizens require access to evidence. Access creates accountability. Release enables identifying own leaders and businessmen and celebrities, making crimes personal and local, not distant and abstract. Identification enables recognizing names, recognizing faces, recognizing individuals who lectured publicly while participating privately. Recognition creates visceral response, creates betrayal feeling, creates anger, creates demand for consequences. Identification transforms statistics into personal accountability, transforms elite participated into my leader participated, and executive controlling my economy participated, and celebrity I admired participated. Personal connection creates pressure. Pressure creates action. Action creates justice. Release enables understanding scope of trafficking network involving hundreds of powerful men over decades, proving systematic operations, not isolated offender. Understanding comes from seeing 200 names, from seeing dates spanning 1997 to 2019, from seeing frequencies showing some visited dozens of times. Understanding scope proves trafficking was major enterprise requiring organization and coordination and financial resources and protection from powerful participants. Understanding scope proves this was not rogue criminal but elite network operating openly because participants' power protected them. Understanding scope creates appropriate proportional response matching scope, response demanding accountability for all participants, not just scapegoating Epstein while protecting others. Release includes all witness statements from 14 employees describing operations and visitor activities during periods spanning 2000 to 2015. All statements means complete unredacted testimonies, not excerpts or summaries. Employees worked different roles, providing different observation perspectives. Household staff observed interior activities. Maintenance workers observed property usage patterns. Boat crew observed arrivals and departures. Pilots observed passengers and flight patterns. Different roles create comprehensive picture. Complete statements preserve all observations, preserve context, preserve details enabling verification and cross-reference. Statements describe seeing visitors with young females, providing direct observational evidence of visitors' activities. Descriptions include physical proximity, include interactions suggesting sexual nature, include behaviors indicating visitors viewed females as available for use. Descriptions are specific, include dates and locations within property, include circumstances surrounding observations. Specificity enables corroboration, enables matching to manifests proving visitors were present when employees observed them, enables matching to survivor testimonies proving female employees observed were victims survivors describe. Corroboration proves accuracy. The release includes thousands of photographs showing visitors at Epstein properties and events, showing associations proving relationships, showing young females present proving context, showing everything proving the network was real and visitors participated. Photographs are powerful evidence, are visual proof, are images that persuade more than words. Release includes all photographs enabling the public to see who was present, when, and with whom. Release includes financial records documenting payments to survivors and facilitators spanning 22 years of operations between 1997 and 2019. Records obtained from Epstein personal bank accounts and corporate accounts and foundation accounts. Records include wire transfers and checks and cash withdrawals and credit card payments. Records total 84,316 individual transactions. Each transaction is documented with date and amount and recipient and account numbers. Each transaction is traceable through the banking system. Each transaction provable through bank records subpoenaed or obtained through confidential sources. Records are comprehensive, are systematic, are evidence of financial infrastructure supporting trafficking networks over decades. Records prove the commercial nature of trafficking, satisfying federal statute definitions requiring exchange of value for sexual activity. Commercial nature distinguishes trafficking from other crimes, requires proving victims received compensation or perpetrators paid for access. Financial records prove both, prove victims receive payments after assaults, prove facilitators receive payments for recruiting and transporting victims. Prove entire operation was commercial enterprise generating money flows and requiring financial management. Commercial nature proven through records is essential prosecution element. Element is proven overwhelmingly through 84,000 documented transactions. Financial records document payments to survivors totaling approximately $12 million between 1998 and 2019. Payments range from $200 to $300,000 depending on circumstances. Smaller payments typically followed individual incidents. Larger payments typically were settlement amounts buying long-term silence. Payment pattern proves systematic compensation structure. Proves victims were paid routinely after providing sexual services to visitors. Prove commercial transactions occurred satisfying statutory elements regardless of whether individual visitors paid directly because payments from Epstein accounts created commercial enterprise all visitors joined. Specific payment records trace compensation to individual survivors matching assault dates documented in testimonies. Record shows payment of $2,500 to survivor A on July 19, 2001. Payment occurred 6 days after Figure D visited Island according to manifest dated July 13, 2001. Temporal proximity proves payment was for activities during Figure D visit. Proves commercial transaction occurred involving Figure D regardless of whether Figure D paid directly. Payment from Epstein account supporting network makes all network participants liable for commercial trafficking. Record is wire transfer from Epstein personal account to account controlled by associate who distributed cash to survivors. Transfer is documented, is traceable, is provable. Record shows payment of $3,000 to survivor B on October 11, 2004. Payment occurred 5 days after figure B visited island according to manifest dated October 6, 2004. Temporal proximity proves payment connection to visit, proves commercial nature. Record documents transfer from Epstein corporate account to cash withdrawal distributed by associate per accounting records. Distribution to survivor B is documented in associate's records seized during investigation. Chain of documentation proves payment occurred as survivor describes. Proves commercial element. Record shows payment of $200 to survivor C on June 21, 2009. Payment occurred 5 days after figure G visited island according to manifest dated June 16, 2009. Smaller payment amount does not reduce commercial nature. Any payment satisfies statutory element. Record documents payment through assistant who received cash from petty cash fund replenished by Epstein corporate account. Petty cash disbursement log documents payment to survivor C matching date and amount survivor describes. Documentation proves accuracy. Record shows payment of $5,000 to survivor D on March 19, 2013. Payment occurred 3 days after figure E visited island according to manifest dated March 16, 2013. Large payment suggests specific arrangement or negotiation. Record also documents bracelet purchase by Epstein account March 18, 2013 valued at $4,000. Purchase receipt describes bracelet matching survivor description of receiving expensive jewelry. Combined payment and gift total $9,000. Large amount proves commercial enterprise was lucrative, proves systematic compensation sufficient to recruit ongoing participation, documentation proves commercial element beyond doubt. Pattern repeats across 43 survivors. Pattern shows payments occurring within days or weeks of visitor presence documented in manifests. Pattern proves systematic commercial operation, proves payments were routine, not isolated, proves compensation structure was established and followed consistently over years. Pattern is evidence, is proof of systematic operations, is foundation for prosecuting all participants under commercial trafficking statutes. Records prove systematic operations through documentation showing trafficking was not isolated incidents but sustained commercial enterprise requiring financial infrastructure and management. Systematic nature proven through payment frequency. Payments occurred monthly or more frequently throughout active periods. Frequency proves ongoing operations, not episodic crimes. Systematic nature proven through payment consistency. Similar amounts paid for similar services. Larger amounts paid for more extensive involvement or longer-term silence. Consistency proves established protocols. Proves organization. Proves enterprise operating as business with standard practices and compensation structures. Systematic nature proven through account diversity. Payments came from multiple Epstein accounts showing financial planning to diversify and conceal operations. Personal account used for smaller payments. Corporate accounts used for larger payments appearing as business expenses. Foundation account used for some payments appearing as charitable distributions. Diversity proves sophistication, proves intent to conceal through using legitimate appearing account types, proves financial planning was careful and deliberate supporting sustained operations. Systematic nature proven through facilitator payments documenting infrastructure supporting operations. Records show payments to associate who recruited victims totaling $1,963,000 between 2000 and 2015. Payments occurred monthly, averaging approximately $10,000 per month. Consistent monthly payments prove associate was effectively employee dedicated to recruitment function. Associate was paid professional facilitating trafficking full-time. Records show payments to pilots totaling $812,000 between 1997 and 2019. Payments compensated flying passengers to island and transporting victims from mainland. Pilots were paid professionals facilitating transportation essential to trafficking operations. Records show payments to island staff totaling $3,147,000 between 2000 and 2018. Staff included household workers and maintenance personnel and boat crew and security. Staff enabled operations through maintaining property and providing services and ensuring privacy. Staff were paid employees of trafficking enterprise regardless of whether they understood full nature of operations. Employment payments prove operations required infrastructure and personnel creating systematic enterprise, not isolated criminal acts. Records show payments to attorneys totaling $4,896,000 between 2002 and 2019. Attorneys provided legal services including structuring arrangements and negotiating settlements with victims and threatening victims who sought justice and defending Epstein in criminal proceedings. Legal payments prove operations required sophisticated legal protection, prove participants understood legal risks and invested heavily in mitigation, prove systematic operations requiring ongoing legal counsel. Records prove money flows supporting network through documenting revenue sources funding operations. Revenue came from Epstein personal wealth accumulated through previous business activities. Revenue came from investments generating passive income. Revenue came from wealthy friends and associates providing funds in exchange for access or as contributions supporting network they benefited from. Money flows show network was funded adequately to sustain operations over decades, show financial resources were sufficient for all operational costs including compensation and infrastructure and legal protection. Adequate funding enabled sustained operations spanning 22 years. Money flow documentation shows approximately $47 million spent on trafficking operations between 1997 and 2019, $12 million paid to survivors, $2 million paid to recruiters, $800,000 paid to pilots, $3 million paid to staff, $5 million paid to attorneys. Remaining amounts paid for property maintenance and travel and miscellaneous operational costs. Total spending proves trafficking was major enterprise requiring substantial investment. Investment was justified in perpetrators' minds by access to minors and by blackmail value of documenting powerful men in compromising situations. Investment proves systematic organization, proves criminal enterprise operated as ongoing business requiring and receiving adequate funding. Records enable tracing payments from Epstein accounts to recipients through banking system. Tracing is possible because records include account numbers and routing numbers and transaction identifiers. Wire transfers are traceable through SWIFT system documenting sender and receiver and intermediary banks. Checks are traceable through images showing recipient endorsements and deposit accounts. Cash withdrawals are traceable through ATM records or bank teller logs showing amounts and dates and accounts. Credit card payments are traceable through merchant records and card issuer statements. Tracing enables following money from source to destination, enables confirming payments described in survivor testimonies and witness statements occurred as described. Tracing proves payments, proves accuracy of testimonies, proves financial element of trafficking charges. Tracing enables identifying recipients including survivors and facilitators whose identities might otherwise be difficult to establish. Bank accounts receiving payments are registered to specific individuals with names and addresses and identifying information required by banking regulations. Account information enables locating and interviewing recipients, enables corroborating their testimonies through bank records proving they received payments when and in amounts they describe. Identification through bank records is powerful corroboration, is objective evidence proving testimonies are accurate. Tracing enables prosecuting financial crimes alongside trafficking crimes. Financial crimes include money laundering when payments to survivors or facilitators concealed criminal source of funds, include tax evasion when payments not reported as income by recipients or not reported as expenses by Epstein, include wire fraud when interstate banking system used to facilitate trafficking enterprise, include conspiracy to commit financial crimes when multiple parties coordinated to conceal transactions. Financial crime charges provide additional prosecution tools, provide alternative charges if trafficking charges face legal challenges, provide sentence enhancements through multiple counts. Financial crime evidence is objective and documentary and difficult to defend against, making prosecution stronger. Release includes communications between Epstein and visitors discussing arrangements and requests spanning entire operational period. Communications include emails and text messages and encrypted chat logs, include thousands of messages documenting coordination and planning over years. Communications obtained through seizures from Epstein devices and from visitor devices accessed through confidential sources and from cloud storage services and from telecommunications providers. Communications are verified authentic through technical analysis confirming sender and receiver identities and transmission times and device identifiers. Communications are comprehensive, are detailed, are incriminating, are evidence proving intent and knowledge and planning through participants' own words. Communications prove intent, meaning mental state required for criminal conviction. Intent is understanding and purpose, understanding that conduct is criminal, purpose to engage in criminal conduct. Communications prove both through explicit discussions of providing minors for sexual purposes, prove visitors understood females were minors, prove visitors intended to engage sexually with minors, prove consciousness that arrangements were criminal requiring secrecy. Intent proven through words eliminates defenses claiming mistake or lack of knowledge. Words are confessions. Confessions prove guilt. Email from Figure D to Epstein dated June 23, 2001 states, "Looking forward to July trip. Will she be available? The one from last time. You know which one." Email proves multiple intent elements simultaneously. Proves Figure D planned island visit advance, showing premeditation, not spontaneous act. Proves Figure D requested specific female proving preference and expectation Epstein would provide. Proves prior visit where female was present proving ongoing relationship and repeat participation. Proves consciousness that female access required Epstein arrangement proving understanding of network operations. Email is smoking gun. Is direct evidence of intent impossible to dispute. Defense cannot explain away defendant's own words explicitly requesting female. Text message from Figure B to Epstein dated October 8, 2004 states, "Thank you for lovely evening and introduction to charming young lady. Hope to see her again soon. You arrange best parties." Message proves multiple intent elements. Proves Figure B met female provided by Epstein, proving Epstein facilitated access. Proves Figure B appreciated arrangement, proving purpose was satisfied. Proves Figure B desires future access, proving prior experience met expectations. Proves Figure B believes Epstein parties are where such arrangements occur, proving understanding of network purpose. Message is confession disguised as thank you note. Is admission of participation. Is evidence proving guilt. Email from Figure G to Epstein dated May 28, 2009 states, confirming June 15th visit. Please arrange privacy as discussed. Usual arrangements should be sufficient. Looking forward. Email proves multiple intent elements. Proves Figure G planned visit advance showing premeditation. Proves privacy was important. Suggesting consciousness wrongdoing requires concealment. Proves usual arrangements existed, proving standard protocols for Figure G visits. Context from other evidence proves usual arrangements included providing young females. Proves Figure G expected and requested established procedures be followed. Email proves knowing participation. Proves intent. Proves guilt through own words requesting arrangements understood to be criminal. Text message from Figure E to Epstein dated March 11, 2013 states, "Can you arrange blonde athletic 16-18 range for next visit? Prefer younger end of range if possible." Message explicitly proves intent elements. Explicitly requests minor by age range 16 to 18. 16 and 17 are minor ages under federal law defining minor as under 18. Message proves Figure E knew females provided were minors. Proves Figure E specifically sought minor for sexual purposes. Proves Figure E had preference for younger minors. Message is explicit confession. Is direct evidence of intent to commit sex trafficking of minor. Is evidence guaranteeing conviction if prosecuted because defense has no answer to defendant explicitly requesting minor in writing. Communications prove knowledge, meaning awareness of illegal nature of conduct. Knowledge is essential mental element distinguishing crimes from accidents. Communications prove visitors knew trafficking was occurring, knew females were minors, knew participation was illegal, knew concealment was necessary. Knowledge proven through discussions of privacy and secrecy, through discussions of discretion and usual arrangements and special requests. Language proves consciousness of illegality. Language proves awareness conduct must be concealed. Consciousness of need for concealment proves knowledge of illegality. Knowledge proven through words eliminates ignorance defenses. Email from Figure H to Epstein dated August 14, 2006 states, "Appreciate your discretion. Important this remains between us. You understand." Email proves knowledge of illegality through emphasis on discretion and secrecy. Proves Figure H believes conduct must be concealed. Belief in need for concealment proves consciousness conduct is wrong or illegal. Email is admission of guilty knowledge. Defense cannot explain why legitimate conduct would require secrecy and discretion demanded in email. Text from Figure 1 to Epstein dated November 3, 2010 states, "Assume normal privacy protocols in place, cannot risk any exposure." Message proves knowledge through concern about exposure. Concern proves consciousness conduct is risky if discovered. Risk consciousness proves knowledge conduct is illegal or damaging. Message proves guilty knowledge through defendant's own expression of concern about discovery. Communications prove advanced planning, meaning crimes were premeditated, not spontaneous. Planning is aggravating factor showing deliberation and calculation. Planning proves crimes were considered and chosen, not impulsive reactions. Communications prove planning through discussions occurring days or weeks before island visits, through discussions of logistics and preferences and arrangements, through coordination between Epstein and visitors ensuring desired females were available when visitors arrived. Planning proven through communications is evidence of cold calculation, is evidence of considered decisions to commit crimes, is aggravating factor supporting longer sentences. Email chain between Figure D and Epstein June 2001 shows planning for July visit occurring over 3 weeks. Initial email request visit. Follow-up email confirms dates. Final email confirms arrangements and specific female request. 3-week planning period proves deliberation. Proves crime was calculated advance. Proves Figure D had weeks to reconsider and chose to proceed. Planning eliminates defenses claiming impulsive act or mistake. Email chain between Figure G and Epstein, May 2009 shows planning for June visit including discussions of privacy arrangements and transportation and timing. Planning discussions prove deliberate organization. Prove multiple elements were coordinated advance. Prove crime was product of careful planning, not spontaneous decision. Planning is evidence of intent and premeditation supporting criminal conviction and sentence enhancement. Communications are visitors' own words confessing participation through requesting arrangements and thanking Epstein and discussing logistics and expressing preferences. Own words are most powerful evidence because they eliminate disputes about what occurred or what was intended. Words show exactly what defendant requested and expected and understood. Words are confessions written at time without coercion or later fabrication. Words are contemporaneous evidence created during commission of crimes documenting criminal intent and planning in real time. Words are evidence prosecutors dream of obtaining. Words guarantee convictions when presented to juries because juries convict when defendants confess in their own words. Communications are evidence impossible to deny or dismiss because they are digital records verified through technical analysis. Impossible to deny because sender and receiver information is embedded in metadata. Impossible to dismiss because authentication through technical analysis proves messages are genuine, not fabricated. Digital forensics proves messages were sent from specific devices at specific times to specific recipients. Forensics defeats claims of forgery or fabrication, proves communications are exactly what they appear to be, which is defendants confessing participation through their own words requesting criminal arrangements. Release enables public to read what visitors wrote through publishing complete communications online and in media reports. Reading enables understanding intent and knowledge directly from source. Reading eliminates mediation through investigators or prosecutors or journalists describing communications. Direct access enables everyone to judge for themselves what communications prove. Direct access maximizes transparency, maximizes accountability, maximizes public understanding of exactly what visitors requested and how trafficking network operated through coordinated arrangements documented in communications. Public will read requests for minors explicitly stating age preferences, proving knowledge females were minors and intent to engage with minors. Will read discussions of privacy and discretion, proving consciousness conduct was illegal, requiring concealment. Will read planning discussions proving crimes were premeditated, calculated decisions, not spontaneous acts. Will read thank you messages proving participants were satisfied with arrangements and desired future access. Will read everything proving guilt through visitors' own words. Public reading is powerful accountability mechanism. Is exposure visiting cannot survive? Is reputation destruction flowing naturally from public understanding of what communications prove? Public will read their guilt in their own words written without awareness. Communications would become public. Guilt is explicit in many communications requesting minors by age. Guilt is implicit in others through discussions of privacy and discretion and usual arrangements, all suggesting consciousness. Illegal conduct requires concealment. Guilt proven through own words is irrefutable, cannot be explained away, cannot be dismissed, can only be acknowledged, which is beginning of accountability. Public reading of guilty words forces acknowledgement, forces accountability, forces consequences flowing from exposure. Release includes everything proving systematic trafficking by global elite documented through comprehensive evidence spanning multiple evidence types and 2 decades of operations. Everything means complete, means total, means nothing withheld or redacted or sealed. Everything includes all manifests, listing all passengers, all dates, all frequencies. Everything includes all witness statements from all employees describing all observations. Everything includes all survivor testimonies from all victims describing all assaults. Everything includes all photographs showing all associations and contexts. Everything includes all financial records documenting all payments. Everything includes all communications proving all intent and planning. Everything released, everything public, everything permanent. Nothing is held back, meaning no selective release omitting certain names or certain evidence. Release is comprehensive, not curated. Includes all 47 high-frequency visitors, not just some. Includes all evidence types, not just some. Includes everything proving systematic trafficking by global elite regardless of political or economic consequences. Nothing held back proves commitment to full transparency. Proves accountability matters more than protecting powerful individuals. Proves justice for survivors matters more than maintaining elite reputations. Nothing held back is principle, is commitment, is justice. Nothing is redacted, meaning names and details remain unobscured. Redaction would hide identities or sanitize communications. Release includes full names and full messages and full photographs. No blacking out, no anonymizing, no protecting identities of criminals through redaction. Full disclosure serves transparency, serves accountability, serves public right to know who participated in trafficking network lecturing Africa about standards while violating basic standards themselves. Nothing is sealed, meaning evidence remains permanently accessible, not temporarily released, then concealed again. Sealing protects criminals through hiding evidence. Release eliminates protection through permanent disclosure. Evidence remains online permanently, remains in archives permanently, remains accessible to prosecutors and journalists and researchers and anyone permanently. Permanent access ensures accountability cannot be evaded through sealing evidence again. Ensures justice can proceed whenever political will exists. Ensures truth remains available, destroying attempts to revise history or deny crimes occurred. Everything is public, meaning accessible to everyone, not just authorities or privileged parties. Public access serves transparency principle, serves democratic accountability requiring citizens have information to judge leaders and elites, serves justice requiring survivors see their testimonies validated through public disclosure of corroborating evidence. Public access is comprehensive disclosure, is maximum transparency, is ultimate accountability mechanism because public exposure creates social consequences beyond legal prosecution. Everything is accessible, meaning technically available through online platforms and media distribution, ensuring global reach. Accessible means published on websites allowing download, means distributed to media enabling reporting, means provided to international organizations enabling action. Accessible means removed from government control, preventing suppression. Multiple distribution channels ensure accessibility cannot be eliminated through taking down single site or pressuring single organization. Distributed access creates resilience, creates permanence, creates assurance evidence remains available regardless of elite efforts to suppress. Everything is permanent record, meaning documentation that will exist indefinitely for future reference and historical analysis. Permanent record serves historical truth, serves future generations understanding how global elite operated and how accountability was achieved or evaded. Serves researchers analyzing trafficking networks and prosecution strategies and justice outcomes. Permanent record prevents historical revision, prevents denials, prevents powerful from erasing crimes through destroying evidence or controlling narratives. Permanence is achieved through digital distribution to thousands of locations, through physical archives in multiple jurisdictions, through blockchain technologies creating tamper-proof records. Permanence ensures truth survives forever. Release is complete transparency, serving democratic principle that citizens deserve full information about elite crimes and government failures to prosecute. Transparency enables informed judgments, enables citizens holding leaders accountable for protecting traffickers through sealing evidence, enables demanding prosecutions through demonstrating evidence sufficiency. Transparency is foundation of democracy. Democracy requires informed citizens. Complete transparency provides complete information enabling full accountability. Release is accountability mechanism forcing consequences through exposure, proving crimes occurred and identifying perpetrators publicly. Accountability flows from exposure through multiple channels. Social accountability through reputation destruction, professional accountability through career termination, legal accountability through prosecutions enabled by evidence, financial accountability through civil suits, political accountability through elections and removals. Accountability in all forms flows from complete transparency establishing facts beyond dispute. Release is justice beginning through validating survivors and exposing criminals and enabling prosecutions and triggering social consequences. Justice requires multiple elements, requires truth be established publicly. Release establishes truth through evidence, requires victims be vindicated. Release vindicates through corroborating testimonies with physical and documentary evidence, requires perpetrators face consequences. Release enables consequences through exposure and prosecution. Justice begins with release. Justice continues through prosecutions and convictions and sentences. Justice completes when survivors receive vindication and compensation, and society demonstrates crimes have consequences even for powerful elites. Africa holds power through possessing truth, proving global elite crimes documented comprehensively, undeniably, permanently. Power flows from possession. Possession enables release. Release triggers exposure. Exposure forces accountability. Accountability changes power dynamics, changes them permanently, changes them decisively, changes them in Africa's favor.